of the faculty for the university's decision to invite, not only invite President Obama, but to honor him with an honorary degree. I am told, I didn't go to the President's dinner this year myself, I'm told that our President received 3 standing ovations from the faculty, and there's no doubt that the prevailing view among faculty members at Notre Dame is this was a great victory for those who want us to move away from a richer Catholic vision of the future of the university. I don't for a moment believe that Father Jenkins enjoys being the hero for this group of faculty members, but he is the hero for them right now. And that, in many ways, for those of us who are concerned about Notre Dame, is the most disturbing feature. Also, most students, we had a hearty band, I would say, of 5 to 8% of Notre Dame undergraduates who were very involved in the response we made. But there's no question that the overwhelming majority of Notre Dame students were fully on board with the Obama invitation and thoroughly enjoyed the weekend. I'll be brief in my comments. I want to talk about 3 questions, and they overlap with all sorts of things that have already been said. Is Notre Dame in trouble? If so, how do we get that way? If so, what do we do about it? I'll not dwell on the question, are we in trouble? Walt Nagorski's wonderful narrative, I think, sets the stage perfectly for this. I came in 1968 as ignorant as one could possibly be about the Catholic intellectual tradition. It had a huge impact on me. I've always been puzzled as someone who came from the world outside the Catholic Church, how Catholics can treat with such contempt this rich intellectual tradition that they have. And I've watched in the 41 years I've been here so much of the power of this tradition drain away from the university. As far as I know, no one disagrees that Notre Dame is in trouble as a rich Catholic university. We have Father Jenkins on record saying we have to do something. We have our provost, Tom Burrish, on record saying we have to do something. It's not just Bill Dempsey who's saying this. We don't have the faculty senate on record agreeing with this, but they've been wrong about almost everything in my career. Their own record is saying that we must never, ever trade off academic prestige for Catholic identity. So much for the faculty senate. So let's leave it as just established that Notre Dame's in trouble. Now, how did we get to be? Why are we in trouble? Well, I reject the kind of narrow conspiracy theories that you can find a single villain to explain this. I have a lot of worries about Land O'Lakes and what Father Hesburgh did there, but I don't think we're in trouble for that reason. I don't think there's been a single operator who at some moment set Notre Dame on the wrong path, and I suspect Walt Nagorski would agree with me on this. The problems at Notre Dame are related to the general problems of secularization in American higher education, and this story has been told so many times that there's no need for me to go through it again. There are interesting things here which I will not dwell on about special features of Catholic universities. I think they were able, first of all, to hold on longer to their religious commitments because they had a much richer intellectual tradition to hold on to. Protestants were already sort of guilty of kind of modernist compromises at the very beginning, and it was very easy for them much earlier to lose their religious institutional commitments. Catholics had the beautiful, comprehensive intellectual structure of neo-scholastic philosophy, which held them in good stead and kept them on the right path throughout most of the 20th century. With its sort of collapse under sustained intellectual attack in the 1950s and increasingly in the 60s and 70s, Catholics were left with no more resources, intellectual resources, than Protestants. So Catholics held on longer, but secondly, when they collapsed faster in a way. The collapse was more dramatic starting in the 1960s. I think that's partly because of the great envy, something, again, as someone who came from outside the Catholic world has always struck me, this deep desire on the part of the Catholic community to be accepted in the broader WASP culture in this country. And it's almost palpable. It's always seemed to me one of the most embarrassing features of Notre Dame sometimes that we're so eager for the approval of people where I think we should be proud to have their disdain. Well, there are complicated reasons why we're in the trouble we're in. Can we do anything about it, and what can be done? I don't know. John Butacci is kind of scary here. It's far too dark of you to have, John, when you're so young. But I don't know whether, I've thought for a long time that probably in 30 years, Notre Dame would be indistinguishable from Vanderbilt or Stanford. And I don't know whether that's true or not. I still think that in dark moments. It's certainly the case, if we ask the question, what can we do? There are a few possibilities on the agenda. One is not do anything and just let things continue to give up. I think there's no doubt in my mind that's what most faculty have in mind here at Notre Dame, the majority of the faculty, that we're on the way to becoming a really great secular university. A second one is that we've always called this at Notre Dame, we've had a catchphrase for it, priests in the dome and in the dorms. We let the faculty just go, and we keep priests as rectors, and we keep at least a figurehead priest as president of the university, and maybe a priest as head of resident life or something like that. Now, that gives us sort of a Catholic frosting on a secular cake. I think that's essentially a schizophrenic and unstable solution. I think lots of people around here think that's, again, a lot of faculty think that's where we need to go, because keeping priests in the dome and the dorms helps with fundraising, for one thing, and it'll help with a little private formation, but the intellectual life is just too important to leave it up to a kind of religious view. I think also something Bill Dempsey, a point he's made many times and he made again today, that can't work because in the end, faculty run the university. Faculty determine the character of the university. Universities are about ideas. They're not ultimately about masses in the dorm, although it's terrific that we have this rich liturgical life at Notre Dame, although possibly not as rich as we would like, as Irina pointed out. But universities are about ideas and the pursuit of truth, and the faculty controls that. You can have as many priests as you want to sitting in the dorm and trying to catch people doing bad things, and it won't change the character of the university. A third possibility is what we might call the ghettoization of Catholic life. We pick a little part of Notre Dame and make it really Catholic. Now, we already have something like that at Notre Dame. The center I direct is the kind of place, the Center for Ethics and Culture is a place where Catholic students hang out, Catholic faculty hang out. We are a kind of quite small operation, but everybody knows where to come to. We have a few other, the Maritain Center, the law school, various other parts of the university, parts of PLS, as Irina mentioned. So we have kind of a ghettoization. We have some student organizations. We had about 10 organizations who came together to form ND Response, the overall student group that responded to the Obama invitation. But the main thing about the ghettoization thing, again, it involves a kind of schizophrenia, but it's so deeply non-Catholic. The idea, Catholics presumably don't think, and Irina was so wonderful talking about the T word, talking about truth. Catholics don't believe they've just got a view. Catholic universities were universities where the whole intellectual life was shaped by a kind of single vision. And the idea that they're going to put that vision over in one corner of the law school or up on the 10th floor of Flanner Hall is just nuts. It's nuts for Catholics. It's nuts giving a comprehensive view of the history of Catholic universities. I think the fourth alternative would be to really get serious, and I guess this is what Bill Dempsey wants us to do. He's the kind of gutsy guy, to get serious and really try to create a really great Catholic university, buck these forces of secularization. That's what we should be doing. One reason we need to do it is there needs to be some place where we can train the next generation of Catholic scholars. And we're pretty much the only place left right now. One of the reasons we don't hire more Catholics at Notre Dame is everybody says, well, there are not any smart Catholics around. It's kind of funny, there are a billion Catholics in the world, and you'd think we could find out of a billion, of a few that were smart enough to teach here. But we need places to train people at the very highest level, and there have to be real Catholic universities to do that. There's no question that this would be a gargantuan task, and I think that's why we don't try to do it here at Notre Dame. I have no doubt, again, that Father Jenkins, who was a student of mine, was a friend of mine. I have no doubt that he understands what Notre Dame could be, and I have no doubt that he would agree with me about what it should be. I think he probably has real doubts about whether it can be that, because it would take a war of monumental proportions to turn Notre Dame around. I'm always surprised we don't pursue this goal, I must say, because it's so attractive. I mean, what a battle. I mean, what a great, inspiring, to stand against these deep modern trends in this beautiful place with this tradition, with Father Soren in the background, the Mother of God looking down on us. Why don't we do it? And now here I'm an old guy, and it's too late for me, but I look at people like John Butacci. John just was admitted to the best philosophy program in the world, the University of Pittsburgh. It's kind of a funny place to be that, but it is. We need to draw on the next generation of people who are prepared with the full understanding of how difficult this battle is. Bill put his finger on the problem that hiring at universities are determined at a very low level by decisions within departments. My department, the philosophy department, has been utterly transformed since I've been a member of it over the last 40 years, and it's going in exactly the wrong direction. It's impossible. It's not so much that it's impossible for us to hire the right kind of people. It's impossible for us even to discuss hiring the right kind of people. I mean, we've reached a point where it cannot come up on the agenda. I don't know whether it's quite that bad for Walt in political theory. But I see these difficulties here as a kind of challenge. I don't understand why other people don't see them that way. Two, I think these stopgap measures, ghettoization, a few more priests in the dorm, and worst of all, the emphasis around Notre Dame now on just kind of public relations. I should say, we're not talking about whether Notre Dame appears Catholic. I, in a sense, don't give a damn about whether it looks Catholic. I want it to be something. Surely branding isn't what we're all about. And one of the first things we could do is stop talking about the Notre Dame brand and stop talking about the Notre Dame brand and start talking about Notre Dame, what it's been and what it could be. Ralph McInerney sends his best to all of you. Thank you.